All right, Keith, good friend of mine, good friend of ours, Gorilla family brother. He went on a diet. George actually wrote a diet for him. And where the hell am I? Here we go. George wrote a diet for him. He's been on this diet for a while now. He was down here lifting with us for a good bit when he was working in Maryland. And now he's back home on the farm. And he was 330 and he's down to 275 on George's diet. And now he's concerned that his weight loss seems to have been stifled. It's kind of slowed down. So he said it looks like he's still leaning out. So he's wondering what's going on. He thinks he might be putting on muscle. And here's the thing about just using a scale. If you only use a scale, okay, and the pictures that he sent me before, after, there's no question he's putting on muscle. He absolutely has gained muscle. Absolutely has gained muscle. So he's actually lost more fat than what he thinks he has. He's lost more fat than he's lost pounds of body mass, weight, right? So here's the thing to consider. When you're talking about you're only using a scale, you don't have any means of miking up your body fat, measuring your body fat percentage, then the scale's not going to tell you much or be very useful. It may give you a little motivation, but the scale can really bullshit you, for better and for worse. Now, it may be an okay tool for like an average person who's really overweight and just wants to lose the friggin' weight, just has had enough and wants to lose the weight, and is just happy enough to do that. And they're not stopping to consider that had they thought it out and maybe tried to retain muscle, if not gain any muscle, they're going to look better when they, where they end up. Because inevitably, eventually, everybody I know, people I know who've lost 150 pounds, when they've lost the weight, they were happy, they were thrilled to death, and they thought they looked great, everything else, were happy all day long. But they're bitten by that bug. They don't mind the diet. They don't mind, whatever it was they were doing to lose the weight. They're getting a little exercise, some kind of cardio, even if it's just speed walking or whatever the hell it was they did, okay? Then now they want to tighten things up. Now that they're thinner and slimmer, everything's not very tight. They don't have really good shape. They're just lighter and thinner. So not putting down that result, but it's probably, I think the best way to go about it is to walk in knowing that your goal is to lose fat and retain as much muscle as possible. If you can't gain any, you want to retain as much as you possibly can. And people that are really, really heavy, you have some muscle under there. Okay? That body's moving you around. Those muscles are carrying you around, all the time, motivating you around. You're using muscles. You have muscle. You have more muscle than the average person. Believe that. An obese person has more muscle than the average person underneath their body as far as development. You just can't see it yet. And muscle's going to dictate what the shape looks like, especially in women. Especially in women. You want to be curvy. You want to be shapely. The little body fat that you have that pads you out and makes it nice and curvy, that's only accenting and softening the curves that are underneath of there, that are contoured to the shape of that muscle. You understand what I'm saying? Like your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, if you got all that stuff. So if you only have the scale, for instance, the scale could tell you, say a person lost, if you lose 3 pounds of fat but gain 2 pounds of muscle, the scale's only going to show a 1 pound loss, but you've actually lost 3 pounds of fat. So it's only looking you lost a pound, but you actually lost 3 pounds of fat because you gained some muscle. So that's going to make a difference in appearance, more so than just 1 pound lost. You understand? Follow what I'm saying? So you have to consider, what's going on with your body if you're actually gaining any muscle or whatever's going on. So here's my advice in his case, and I wrote it to him and already explained it to him, but I want to share it with all you guys, anybody in a similar circumstance. He's been on a diet a while now. He's had success. He's lost a good deal of weight. He started out, at 330, and he's down to 275. and his losses have seemed to stall. So you want to get them started back up. Here's what I would suggest, not knowing what you're doing with your diet or any other thing, okay? Here's what I would suggest. I would suggest rolling in a cheat day. Rolling in a cheat day. Now, there's going to be lots of people. There's going to be people in the fitness industry on YouTube that are self-proclaimed experts. They're going to say this is bullshit and everything else. Well, I've never seen it fail to work. I've never seen it fail to work. There are people that will come on here, that I've advised that will tell you it does work. And what happens is, no matter what you're doing, if you're consistently doing the same thing, your body will adapt to it. So your metabolism is going to slow. Eventually, figure out what you're doing, and it's going to be able to do everything it has to do with the allotment of calories, however macros are breaking down, that you're putting in it. So it doesn't have to lose anymore. It'll just slow. So how are you going to keep that metabolism off balance? Well, if you've stalled for a while and you don't feel you're making any more progress now, after you've already enjoyed progress, so you know it works, you already got something good going, a decent diet. So now you just need to, like I said, diets have to be fluid. You have to be ready to, duck and roll with the changes as you go on. When it stops working, you got to tweak it, figure out what's wrong. I would throw a cheat day in there. What a cheat day is going to do is it's going to shock your metabolism like a big dog. I mean, if you have a one day you roll in there and all of a sudden that one day you're getting double the calories or God knows what, right? The macros are all kind of screwed up. You can eat whatever the hell you please to eat all that day. All day long. I don't care. Eat whatever you want. Do what makes you happy. People will tell you don't look forward to your cheat day. You know what I mean? There are people that I have known that look forward to that day, especially they're females, that they'll go out shopping during the week, buy something here and something there that they're looking forward to eating on that particular day. You know what? God bless them. I don't deny anybody any pleasure that they get in this life. You work all week, you go to school all week, you do whatever it is you got to do. You know what? If you're getting joy out of that you're looking forward to that one day and you're going to eat these things and you already know what it is, you go ahead and keep doing it. You ain't hurting a damn soul. What that's going to do is your metabolism is going to go bizarre, like crazy over this thing. Your body's going to scramble to try and figure out what the hell to do and what's going on. And then before anything can happen, the very next day, bang, you're back up on that horse. You're back on that diet. Very next day. You can't do it 2 days in a row, okay? You cannot gain body fat in one day. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with that too. You can't. You're not going to get fat in one day. You will not get fat in one day. 2 days? Yeah. You might start to put on some fat, but it would be really, really difficult to gain any body fat in one day. I haven't seen it happen. So you're not going to pay for that cheat day at all, and you're just going to benefit from it. Roll that cheat day in there. Eat whatever the hell you want that one day. It's going to be hard because you've already made progress and everything, and every bone in your body is going to tell you it's the wrong thing to do, and you're going to feel guilty and everything. Don't. You do something drastic, throw that cheat day in there, it's throwing your body a curveball, and your body's going to be shocked. And as it scrambles to figure out what the hell's going on and what to do next, before it can figure anything out, bang, you're right back on that diet again. Now that's new again. That's new again. That's all it takes is that much of an upset in that regard, and it's all new again. So, all the results you had initially, you're going to start the fat's going to start to come off again. You're going to start to benefit again. Now, in this case, what I would suggest is, I don't know where his carbs are, George Verda's diet. I don't know what he's doing, where his macros are. I'm assuming that the carbs are still there, respectable but not crazy at all, and that the fat is still there, but it's not nuts. I'm going to guess George probably got him. I'm going to guess 15% fat, maybe 20, 15%. I don't know. 15, 20% fat. I'm guessing. Well, me, I wouldn't worry about the fat right now. It's probably not that very high. I would cut the carbs back some more. Plan to cut the carbs back some more. Don't do it yet. Do it the day after the cheat day. Get ready to go. Figure out where it's coming from, how you're going to do it. Have your cheat day. The next day when you roll back into that diet, bring it home with them carbs cut back. Cut them carbs back. As always, I always recommend if you got a lot of fat to lose, you want to get rid of it. If you're a regular, conventional type of person that sleeps at night and works all day or does whatever you do in the day, if you're not, then you modify it to your schedule. But if you have that kind of schedule, like most people typically have, then and like I have, No carbs past 6 p.m. No carbs, except on the cheat day. Cheat day, I don't care what you do. No carbs past 6 p.m. Have your carbs heavy in the morning. And when I say heavy, it means comparatively, relative to how many carbs you're going to have in the day. Wherever your carb, intake is at, have more of them in the earlier part of the day and taper them as the day progresses, right? Heavier in the morning, taper them down so that after lunch you're really not having a lot of carbs anymore. By 6 o'clock, cutoff point, no more carbs. No more carbs. Now you can vary this. Nothing's a hard, fast rule. You can do what you want. This will work, but you can do whatever you want to do. There can be exceptions for everything. When I'm cutting back on carbs, if I'm not going into ketosis, I may want to have some carbs still around my workout. I may not count that even. And you know what? If everything else is right, my diet's designed to allow for that. I've never paid for that. I still lose the fat just the same. Never paid for that because I wring that glycogen out and I can fill it back up that way because I know how much I can hold. Now, if I tried to put in too much, more than I can hold, I'm going to pay for it. But other than that, it's a freebie. I used to tell a lot of women after they did the cardio, if you got to have something sweet, if it's just killing you, you know what? Have something sweet after that cardio. You want a Snickers bar or something or a cupcake? Go ahead. Have it right after that cardio. If you did your cardio properly and adequately, which if I'm working with you, I'm going to show you how to do cardio. I'm going to make sure you're doing it right. Then right when you come off of that treadmill or whatever you're doing on, whatever your cardio piece of apparatus is, elliptical, whatever it is, you come off of there, you done paid it. You done paid for it now. You go ahead and eat that candy bar or something. I'd rather you have that than a piece of fruit. Put it that way. Yeah, I'd rather you have that sugar than fructose. So you go ahead and eat that, and you'll never pay for that. Never pay for it. I've worked with countless numbers of women just because women really are sensitive about their weight usually. And I've taken women from being in, frumpy, middle-aged, after having 3 or 4 kids condition to looking like an athlete, looking like a competitive athlete. Now, I know a lot of people say that kind of thing. No. I mean, like, taking them to the point where if they were around other chicks in shape, they're going to blend in with the chicks 20-something crowd and shit. I mean, that kind of condition. So, you can do whatever you want to do with your body. You just have to figure out what your body needs, what your body's going to respond to, So there's no hard, fast shit too much for everybody universally. There's just like starting points that everybody can, just a place everybody can begin at, and then you go from there. If it's not working, you switch it up. And like in Keith's case, this brother's case, he feels like he's still getting lean, but he's getting a bit antsy. He wants to see the weight come off. Okay, this will get the weight coming back off. Throw your cheat day in there. And the morning after the cheat day, you go back on your diet with one modification, you cut the carbs back some. I don't know how much to tell you to cut it back by because I don't know where you're at with carbs. Knowing George, I'm going to figure that you could probably shave 25 carbs off of that and you're not going to really hurt a lot. It's not going to really be tough. And if you're having carbs past 6 p.m., don't do that anymore and taper them through the day. If all those things are changes, that's going to be sufficient. Yeah, that's going to be sufficient. In fact, if you didn't change anything, you stayed the same diet, and you threw that cheat day in there, you'll probably start to get the weight coming back off. But eventually it'll slow again. And it may not take that long, but it'll start coming back off again from this. So I would go ahead and cut the carbs back, and that's going to get you a little more mileage. A little more mileage out of it. Anyway, that's it. Feel free to disagree or agree. I've seen it work. I know it works, and I've never worked with anybody that we didn't get where we wanted to go fairly quickly, without any kind of real crazy thing. So it works.